All right, everybody, I wanted to do a walkthrough and review of the Aquarest 4500 spa that I just purchased recently. I hadn't seen a lot of online reviews of this particular unit, so I thought if it was helpful, I'd put this out there. Some of you might have different opinions about some of the choices I made during all this, and that's certainly fine. I respect if you disagree. I'm just putting out how I kind of handled all this. My budget for a new hot tub was around $3,500, which was a tough challenge because it's hard to find a quality tub at that price, particularly when you factor in all the other costs associated with it. We wanted to start with a plug-and-play 110 volt model, but also one that can be converted into a 50 amp or 30 amp model. So we started by looking on Craigslist. We found that there were some options out there around that price, but it was hard to tell the specs and the model number, all that stuff on Craigslist. We also found that it just cost a lot of money to move the unit, usually around $500 to $700 just to move it across town. So we thought the cost of moving it was too much, so then we started looking at local pool and spa stores. Really great service, very nice people, but just the price was a lot higher. A lot higher. And for example, the only model that was around that price was like one of those circle ones, those small circle ones that are kind of ugly. So the delivery also was around $400 to $500 even at these pool stores. So then we started looking online, and there were a lot of options online, but it was really hard to tell kind of the quality. You also couldn't tell the kind of company that was selling the hot tubs. We did discover this company called Aquarest, which makes this particular unit. It's an American company. It's made in the United States, in Florida. They also were one of the leaders in inventing this manufacturing process called roto-molding. Roto-molding just makes the tub a little lighter, makes the product actually flex a little bit when it's sitting on the ground. We could have bought it directly from Aquarest. They have an outlet, but we wanted to buy from a company that actually specialized in pools and spas. So we found a pool and spa store in Manchester, Tennessee called Clearwater Pool and Spa, which did sell this unit, and we ended up going with them. The reason was just the price was excellent. We got it for around $3,300. They had free curbside delivery. They had a free matching step, which you see here. They had the free cover, which is not unusual, but it was great to have. And I guess a big reason we chose that particular store was because they had no tax, which saved us about $200. We also liked that this particular store in Tennessee had, seemed like they had good customer service as well. They did email us regularly after we ordered. So why we chose this particular unit, and I'm going to open it up here. Clips here. We chose this particular unit because it was a 6-person unit, which was important to us. Again, we didn't want too small a one. We liked that it had the 45 jets and that it was convertible, as I said. This particular unit, this whole section opens up right here, and so you get a real access to all the parts right there, which I thought would be easier to do some of the work myself. And finally, I just kind of like the look of it. We don't have a wooden patio, so or a deck, so we wanted something that matched the motif nicely. And we felt like this matched our patio fairly well. So, and you can see here, we set up the space here. I used about 3 inches of crushed rock with some cedar lining and then leveled it. They delivered this particular spa to my driveway, and then I had to have a few guys help me move it. We all just kind of grabbed the corner. We had a dolly that we were able to roll it back. It only was about 30 feet, and it was over some somewhat rough terrain, but you can see kind of bumpy, but it was fine. Just kind of rounded the corner, and then we all grabbed a corner and set it here, made sure it was level, and then we filled it up. This didn't take long to fill up. It took about an hour to fill up. Just turning the jets on now. Took about an hour to fill up. You should know about the 110 volt though. It just takes a really long time to heat up. It took about 3 days for this unit to heat up, but I live in northern New England, and it was fairly cold. It was in the 20s and 30s while it was filling up. So just be prepared. It could take 3 or more days to fill up in cool weather. I'm not sure what it would be in warm weather, but so once we got it set up and once we got it filled up, we just did a little review of how we've used it so far. It's been a couple months now. Just really like the unit. As I said, we started with the 110 volt, and you can see I've got an extension cord running into the garage right now. But we are going to convert it to a 50 amp this summer. We really like that has the ability to do that. I'm just going to defray the costs. It can be pretty expensive to have an electrician come out right off the bat, so it probably would have cost another $1,000. So we're going to do that over time. So having the 110 volt plug and play option right off the bat was great. It gets hot. I mean, it gets up to 104 degrees, which I know is pretty standard, but you know, it's a hot tub that gets hot. It's got jets. The jets are comfortable. It comes with a particular, you can see that key down there, fits into all the jets, and you can turn them up or down. And again, I'm not real picky. I'm sure if I went to got a $10,000 spa, I would have nicer jets, but that's not that important to me. My kids like the waterfall option here. It's not particularly important to me, but my kids enjoy it. You can see it's got different light options and stuff like that. It's got lights on the sides, and then it's got light in the waterfall. My kids enjoy that. Again, the jets are sort of everywhere. There's 45 of them. I find there's plenty of jets. Works great for me. It's got lots of seating options. You can, in that corner there is a kind of a lounger that runs across there. There's some jetted foot areas, and then there's 2 other major loungers in that corner and this corner, and then there's a smaller seat there and a smaller seat there. And then my daughter, who's a little smaller, she kind of sits there, or she sits there. So I guess that's the six places, and I find it's more than enough space. You know, with the jets on like it is now, it works out great. It's fun to use. It does lose a little bit of temperature, especially in the cold weather, which is pretty normal. It loses about 1 degree per 10 minutes, sometimes a little less if the jets are running and it's really cold. And again, that's because of the 110 volt. It's a little less powerful heater, and so it's having a hard time heating up. It's also important to know that when the jets are running high like this, the heater is not running, and that's pretty standard in plug and play models. We're going to upgrade to the 50 amp, and that's going to take care of that. Just because we live in such cold climate, we find that we need that. And again, the one drawback of the plug and play is just the energy use. I mean, this thing does have to run a lot to just keep that 102, 104 degree temperature, which we like. If you upgrade to the 50 amp, you'll find that it'll just use a little less energy to keep that or maintain that temperature. So this is the unit. We really are happy with it. Again, we paid $3,300 for it. For that price and how we use it, we think it's going to be great. I highly recommend this unit, especially just the ease of ordering. It only took 7 days to arrive to our house. I've heard stories that it takes longer, but again, we ordered on a Wednesday morning and it arrived the following Wednesday morning in our driveway. And again, we live in northern New England, so it came all the way from Florida. So if this is helpful to you, great. I encourage you to ask any questions in the comments feature. I'll do my best to answer them. Again, please save the trolling. I'm not a hot tub expert in any way. This is just how we use it, and we've been happy so far. Thanks.